How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at Death Sentence. This is from 2007, directed by James Wan. This movie stars Kevin Bacon, Kelly Preston, Garrett Hedlund, and John Goodman. Now, this movie, it's often considered James Wan's most underrated film. He started off with Saw. Saw was grindhouse grungy horror. Well, for your third film, grindhouse grungy action. And boy, is this movie hard as nails. Like, for real, you get to like John Goodman's character, and he's like absolutely terrifying. And there's so many moments in this film where you can see Kevin Bacon's character just constantly thrown back into the fire. And so many moments where you're like, oh no, this is going bad. Oh, this is going worse. And it just really is a tough movie. And the action is cool as well. James Wan would eventually get to do action again with like Furious 7 and Aquaman, but this was his first action movie. And there's some pretty cool stuff. Like I said, grungy. Some guy gets his leg blown off with a shotgun. Really cool sequences. You get the parking garage scene with a very, very impressive oneer. And the action in this movie, you just feel it. It's visceral. It's hard-hitting. It's bloody and grungy. It is really, really good. And the transformation of Kevin Bacon's character is another really good thing. He's someone that's put on the spot, and when he first commits an act of violence, it shocks him, and you can feel it changing him because he's a risk management assessor at an insurance company. He's not John Wick or Liam Neeson. He's not bumbling and incompetent, but he's not a killer at the beginning of this movie. And to see it weigh on him, to see him not knowing what he's doing and realizing his actions can catch up to him, and then what he becomes is so different than where he started at the beginning of this movie. It is quite the character study here. Now, that being said, with James Wan's career, big start off with Saw, and then he did Dead Silence, which is a ventriloquist dummy horror movie, which was okay, but not great. And then he did Death Sentence, which is really good and super underrated, but both Dead Silence and Death Sentence weren't super huge hits. You know, you had the guy that did Saw, and then you had two financially disappointing follow-up films, both of which good films, especially Death Sentence. But luckily, Jason Blum would come in, see a guy that had potential, and give his career another kick with, you know, Insidious, and then you get The Conjuring and stuff. But this is one of those movies where Wan's career was in a little bit of a slump, but it really shouldn't have been, because this is a really good movie. But I can kind of see why it wasn't successful. A lot of people want action movies to be happy, popcorn action, blowing people up, explosions. And this is blowing people up and explosions, but it's not popcorn and happy. It's grungy. It's hard to watch. It has weight behind it. So I guess I can see why it wasn't a huge success. But boy, it's a good movie and more people need to see it. Just get ready for something dark and gritty with grungy cinematography. Just know that. Anyway, let's talk a bit about the plot in order to analyze it further. No major spoilers, but let's do a little bit of a deeper dig. We open up Kevin Bacon with his family, normal guy, pretty financially successful. He has a wife, he has an older son and a younger son. Older son is a bit of a hockey star. Younger son, a little bit resentful, wanting a little bit more attention. Well, the older son goes into the city to play a hockey game, and afterwards tells his dad that he's wanting to do it professionally as a career, go to college in Canada. There's a few lines early on in the film, like the early part of the film is a little bit cheesy when it's trying to be happy and sentimental, but there is a few lines of really dark humor, like when he's calling his wife and going, yeah, son wants to go to Canada, we'll probably never see him again. And we all know what's coming. The son goes into a gas station and is killed in a robbery, and Kevin Bacon sees the kid who does it and is obviously torn up and wants some justice. Sadly though, even though the police catch him, they say it's only gonna be about 5 years. Turns out there were no security cameras. If it goes to trial, they're gonna say, did you really see him? That's just your memory on a dark night. And what are you wanting to publish inner city youths? You rich old Kevin Bacon? So they say 5 years is something. It's better than you think you're gonna get. But that's the life of his son, and the life of his son is only worth 5 years? But then he also finds out it wasn't just a robbery. It was a gang initiation. Kill someone to be in our gang. The problem's bigger. So Kevin Bacon doesn't prosecute this kid. He says, you know, it was dark. Maybe I didn't see it right. But then he gets ready. And I really do like I said, it is a character transformation movie. This guy who's an insurance guy going to his tool shed, looking at all the knives and going, could I kill someone with this? And his son walking in halfway through going, Dad, what's going on? You know, so he does still have the other son and the wife. He has an element of his family that's also grieving, but he knows what he's got to do. And I really do like I said, the first time he commits an act of violence, he's kind of shocked with himself. He's like, did I do that? Am I really capable of it? And that is really interesting. And we also get the villain's perspective. Once someone strikes against them, they're like, that's our guy, that's our friend, that's our brother. Who would dare take something from us? You know, you took something from someone else, you should be even Steven now, but no, how dare they mess with us? And, you know, when they find out it's him, how dare this rich guy come down to our world, and does he think he can push us around? And I like that, even though, yeah, the villains are totally in the wrong, they write from their perspective and that they see how angry they can be. And you think, I'll go in, out, no big deal. Little things that you wouldn't think would be clues can quite easily track you down. And when things start showing up in his real life, in his nice, safe world, when he realizes this stuff is following him back and that anywhere is dangerous, yeah, you see that this movie has teeth and it's not afraid to strike you when it thinks it's safe. And that does lead into things like the chase sequence that goes through a few buildings and winds up in a parking garage. Like I said earlier, great oneer, but also the whole thing's not a oneer, but there is a bit of it that is a really long oneer that pulls off some impressive stuff. And by the end of that oneer, Kevin Bacon is out of breath and it's perfect. But it also has a fun sequence at the end with a car. And there's other stuff too. I don't want to spoil too much of where this movie goes or where the action sequences take place. But there's fun stuff. You know, shotguns that go boom and tear through a wall. There's one scene I really like where Kevin Bacon's about to get killed with a shotgun pointed at his face, and then he sees the bad guy standing on a rug and he yanks it out from under him. I really do like that improvisational fighting. That's really cool. And the movie does heat up. It goes bigger and bigger, and the action sequences toward the end of the film are absolutely brutal. And again, this movie is about escalation, and it really, really gets edgy towards the end. If there was one fault with this movie, though, everybody judges Kevin Bacon. And the thing is, like, you have a cop character, and I really like the dynamic where the cop character pretty early on knows what Kevin Bacon's doing but can't prove it. And she's like, you think you can mess around in this world you don't know anything about? And like, anytime anyone finds out, they always judge Kevin Bacon. And it's sort of like, dude, your son is dead. I wish there was just one person in this movie that saw Kevin Bacon and was like, totally get it, man. But no, the whole world judges him. And honestly, this may be... I am from Texas. I live in Texas. And I feel like if this movie took place there, everyone would be on Kevin Bacon's side. Go get him, Kevin. I'll help you. I have guns myself. You know, so you don't quite get that perspective. And I get, you know, that the idea of the movie is that revenge and setting out to do something big is going to be a lot harder than you think it is and is going to cost you more. But man, I wish someone was on Kevin Bacon's side. But anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. I can definitely recommend this movie. Again, one of James Wan's most underrated movies. Anyway, to everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my James Wan playlist, where you can see me talk about other of his movies, including The Conjuring and the recent movie Malignant. Really good one as well, another underrated one. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.